All right, so it is 12:02. We'll get started. Just to introduce myself, I am Gina Genova. I'm one of the clinical librarians at Kornhauser Library. I'll be taking over this session from Ansley today. And as we go along, this session is being recorded, so definitely feel free to email me if you would like a copy of that. Additionally, if you have any questions as I go through things, feel free to put them in the chat. We do have someone monitoring it, so we'll be able to address those as we go. And then towards the end, we'll also have time for any questions and answers then. So before I get started, this is, of course, a brief EndNote session. EndNote is a citation manager. If you've never used it before, maybe used an application like Zotero or Mondelez, they do very similar things. So what EndNote can do is it can organize all of your references and papers in one place. You don't have to go searching for them all over your computer. You can organize them into different groups. You can annotate them in one place. It can create your references section as you write your proposals and manuscripts, which saves so much time as opposed to doing it manually. And you can use it to share your reference list with your collaborators. So I am now going to turn my camera off, share my screen, and we're going to be looking at EndNote. Okay. So after you download EndNote, to open EndNote, you will open the application. And it's not like Microsoft Word or Excel. It won't automatically open a new file. If you have used EndNote before, it will open the library that you previously had open. Otherwise, you go to File, New, click a save location and a name for your library. If I can type. So one important thing to know about saving EndNote libraries is that they must be saved on a physical hard drive. This can be your desktop computer, your laptop, or an external hard drive or a flash drive. They cannot be saved on cloud or network drives. So this means no Google Drive, no Cardbox or Dropbox, no U or N drives. The files do not do well on those. They will usually become corrupted and have problems. So as you're saving, see automatically you will have this .enl file with the library, and there will also be this .data folder. These two have to stay together. So if I wanted to move this onto a flash drive, I would have two options. The first would be to drag both of these items onto the flash drive, and the second would be to go to File and compress the library. It's empty, so it's grayed out, but as soon as I load anything, I would have that option to compress this and create a .enlx file. And these basically work like zip folders for other kinds of files, and then you can put those onto flash drives and things like that to back up your files. As you are using EndNote, you can have one master library that is all you ever use with EndNote, or you can have multiple libraries for multiple projects. It's really a matter of preference and what works best for you for organizing things. You don't need to have multiple libraries if you don't want to, because you can share individual groups with your collaborators. So you can say, okay, Jim, I'm only going to share this group for this project with you. Or if you prefer, you can have a separate library for that project. Again, really depends on your organizational preference. One factor that might play into this is that if you want to use EndNote Web to back up your libraries, you can only sync one library to your online account at a time. So if that is your preferred backup method, you will probably want to have one main library that you use. And to do that, you'll have to create an EndNote Web account. So it's just myendnoteweb.com. And you will, if you used EndNote before, you can sign in. Otherwise, you can register, and that will make it so that you are able to sync your libraries and also share them. Even if you don't make heavy use of the web backup function, you won't be able to share your library or your groups without having an account. So you will definitely want to do that as you get started. So now just a basic overview of what EndNote looks like. So in the center white part here is where there will be a list of your references. If you click on a reference, information about that reference and any PDFs or other files you have attached to it will appear on this right pane here. And the left pane is how you navigate through the library. So there's, of course, this All References tab. This just displays everything that you have in the library. Recently added, really self-explanatory. Unfiled, so this will show any references that have not been put in a group. It's not a tab I use very much, but if you have a very large library and you put most or everything into groups, it might be useful to check there just to make sure everything is where it should be. There is the trash folder. The good news is that it is fairly difficult to permanently delete things from EndNote by accident. It is very easy to delete things from the references or groups list by accident because all you have to do is accidentally bump the backspace key. However, we'll move into this trash folder, this little button here, the trash can with the arrow. It will restore the reference to the library. And if you try to delete anything from this folder by any means, it will show a warning and ask you to confirm. So it is much harder to permanently delete things that you did not intend to delete. There's the My Groups. So this is if you create groups to organize related sets of references, this is where those will appear and you'll be able to navigate through those. As a note, references can belong to more than one group. The Find Full Text. So this is more of an update section than it is an actual function. I will go into, pardon me, the Find Full Text function and how to get that started once we get some references into this library. Any groups that are shared with you by others, you'll be able to see here. I don't have any. And then I would say don't worry about the online search function. These are not very transparent or precise searches, and we encourage people to go straight to the databases and not to use these. If you have any additional questions, concerns about the online search, that's something that I would say can reach out to me or someone else at the library later. We can talk a little more about that, but we won't be going into that in this session. Great. So, and also before I put anything into this library, I think it's going to be helpful to go over some of the vocabulary I'll be using. So when I say EndNote library, I mean this whole EndNote file with everything in it. I say a group, I mean these folders here on the right where you have your references. A group set, this is something that you are able to do under the Groups tab. You can create a group set if you have more than one group. So say, again, it's a large project, you have 80, 90, maybe even a couple hundred references for it, and you have 3 groups, like this is the method section, this is a literature review, and you can create a set so it's all together, but you still have those subgroups within there to make things easier to navigate. I say reference, I mean a singular input in EndNote for an article, a book, a conference proceeding, any other item that you might cite. I say a citation, I mean a citation to that item in a Word document or a manuscript. So now let's get started with putting some references into EndNote. So how to do this from some of the most commonly used databases. So in PubMed, we are not doing an advanced search here. This would not be very useful in real life. See, there's this send to function. So click Citation Manager, and there will be several options. All results on this page. We'll just do the first 10 that I have displayed here. All results will only is limited to 10,000. So in this case, with my not very good search with over 400,000 results, that would not be all of them. However, most of the times you are not just searching for anything and anything to do with lung cancer. You might end up exporting all the results, and you can also select, just say, I want this one, and this one, and you can just export that selection if you want. I'm going to do all the results on this page, create file, and that will download a .mbib file here. So if you just click that, If you have an EndNote library open in the background, it will automatically load into that. If you don't have an EndNote library open, a Finder or browser window will appear and you'll have to select the save location as that EndNote library that you want to download it into. Right. Now we're going to, so there are several databases that we have at the library that look like this. CINAHL and PsycInfo are probably the top two, at least for our folks on the health sciences campus. And they all look like this because they're from the same vendor called EBSCO. That's not very important, particularly. What's more important is that if they look like this, to get these citations, you will have to actually click into the record for the article or book that has come up in the search. And then on the right side here, you'll see export. And this top radio button, RIS format, is in parentheses, EndNote is there. That's the one you want to use. Save. This one, .irs, has a different file ending, but it functions the same as the .mbib files. Click it, it will automatically go into the EndNote library open in the background. Now, if you use Google Scholar, there is an additional step. So Google Scholar, oh, I'm sorry, Zoom is trying to show me tools, so I'm going to move that over really quickly. There is an additional step because Google Scholar does not, by default, show the download links for their citations. So you'll have to go into your settings, your bibliography manager, make sure that it's toggled to show links to import citations, and you will have several options. Make sure EndNote is selected. Click save. And also, this is like the EBSCO ones. By default, it is a single citation download. You can click this link here, import into EndNote. We have yet another file extension, .enw here, but once again, it works the same. It will automatically download into the library you have open in the background. So now we have our references. By themselves, probably not very useful. So how do we get PDFs here? There are a couple ways to do it. One is the find full text function. So I have this set to automatically find full text. I will show you how to do that. If you don't have it set, you can also select one or more references, Control All. It's probably the easiest way to do this. And this little square with the magnifying glass up here, you can click that. And this is where this Find Full Text Navigator on the left side will be useful. It'll tell you how many it found, the whole PDFs for, how many it found URLs, and how many it just doesn't know what's up. It couldn't find anything. How many it finds, it's really up in the air and entirely depends on the journals they're from, things like that. I usually about, I would say, a quarter to a half, depending on what I'm looking for. All right, so to automatically have EndNote try to find the full text for you, you go to EndNote, Preferences, Find Full Text. And here is automatically invoke Find Full Text on newly imported references. You will also want to add the library proxy. So this will increase the number that is found, especially if you're off campus Wi-Fi, because it'll connect you to the library subscription journals. I am not 100% sure where mine went. It was here a few days ago. Let me try to find the EndNote proxy so I can type that in for you. Oh, here it is. Huh. All right, I will try to find that later so I can actually copy and paste that proxy there, because it was supposed to just be displayed there for you, but somehow I removed it and I don't have the exact URL right on me. Chat. Oh, thank you, Ansley, got it. Preferences. There we go. So just paste that in there. Save. not with the proxy link attached. Good to go. All right, and that will help with the find full text function. All right, so once you have another way to get PDFs is, of course, sometimes, unfortunately, they're just not able to find the full text automatically, or maybe you've already downloaded the PDF. You can hit this attach file button and just browse to wherever it is saved on your computer and upload that. And once you have your PDFs, you can also make notes on them within EndNote. So there's PDF here. Let's toggle to the PDF tab. You can also use these toggles to edit your citations. For example, in most cases, I've never had an issue with citations downloading incorrectly. However, of course, many, like PubMed, for example, downloads the abbreviated journal name. But if your citation style needs the full journal name, in many cases, at least whenever I've used it, EndNote has not automatically expanded the journal name. So you might go type the whole thing, but you can edit your references. PDF here with this little button that kind of looks like a speech bubble. It's the annotation toolbar. You can highlight anything that's of interest, insert comments. And as a note, you will want to click Control S to save the changes to the PDF or the record. If you forget to do that, that is okay. As soon as you try to click away from the record, EndNote will ask you if you want to save, just click yes. Okay. Now, so of course, you also may not automatically be adding all of your references from databases. There are additional ways to do this. For example, if you have a book laying on your desk that you need to cite, go to this icon here, the clipboard and the plus sign. So you'll have to toggle here to the type of item you're citing, and almost anything under the sun that you might cite for a scholarly project will be in here. So you just have to find what you're looking for. So I have a book, and then just enter all of the information that you know about it. Control S to save, and there it is. And then, of course, you can attach any files that you have associated with it. If you entered anything wrong or forgot any information, like I certainly did with this one, you can go back to the Edit tab and fix that. All right, now we have some references. Let's talk about organizing them. So you can go to this groups here. There are two ways to manage the groups. You can right click on my groups here, or you can use the groups tab up here, create group, two groups. And to add references to groups, there are two ways to do this. You can click and drag, or you can right click, add references to, and pick the group. And if you want to create a group set, and then if you create any additional groups from here, they will automatically go under that group set. However, you can drag these down, or okay, apparently you can't right click to move those. I thought you could, but dragging them works just well. Now, if you want to back up your references with EndNote Web, go to Library and hit Sync here. And I am not going to hit yes. This is not the library that I use, and I have backed it up on my account. But this, if you hit yes, this will sync your library to your EndNote Web account, and it will be backed up on EndNote's website. Another useful step to do, and this is before getting into Cite While You Write, especially if you're working on a library over time, or if you're bulk downloading citations from more than one database, there is a good chance that you are going to have duplicate references for the same item. And in addition to just kind of cluttering up your EndNote, that can make using the Cite While You Write feature a little more difficult. So a good way to do that is to go into Library, find duplicates. and there are no duplicates in this little library that I've barely added anything to, so it says no duplicate references found. But if there are, it will show you potential duplicates, and you will be able to select either which of them to keep, or you can say, no, you're wrong, I still need both of those. And that makes things quite a bit easier. So now going into Cite While You Write, definitely one of the nicest features of EndNote. So when you download EndNote, it integrates with Microsoft Word in this nice EndNote 20 tab. So you can choose your output style for your citations, this drop-down menu. So I have used this before. So I have the AMA style, which is called JAMA selected. It doesn't appear automatically. So you can click select another style, and there are these just hundreds upon hundreds of individual journal styles that you can choose from. Not absolutely everything under the sun is on that list. However, there are even more options on EndNote's website. So if you can't find what you are looking for there, then you can probably go to EndNote's website and download it. Right. So I'm going to add some citations. Now do make sure that you have the EndNote library that you are using open in the background. Insert citation here. Say, I usually search for it by author. That's probably the easiest thing to do. However, you can search for it by title or journal, basically anything that EndNote has, it will pull results for it. Click insert, and so you can see this one here and the reference. It automatically appeared. All right, something very, very important about this is that these in-text references and these full citations at the bottom, do not edit them like regular text in Microsoft Word. There is a lot of back-end programming going on between EndNote and Microsoft Word to make this possible. And EndNote becomes very cranky if you try to mess with it. So you do need to change your citations. There is this little thing here, edit and manage citations. You can delete them, you can reorder them. It's hard to see here with the dark blue highlighting, but there is a little circle with 3 dots in it. This is a toggle button. You can remove the citation, you can insert one near it. You can also edit the library reference. So if you notice like, oh, hey, I need their full names, or the page numbers don't look right, you can fix that in here. Then pretend that these page numbers were wrong. Save. Okay. And that didn't automatically update. That still says 473. So you'll just want to click up here, update citations and bibliography. You can see it changed there. And in most cases, that'll work. Just set your citation style, just write, insert the references as you go. If you need to reorder them or remove any, use this function here. And ta-da, you don't have to manually type 70 citations for one paper. And that is, I think, the essentials of EndNote. Now, where to go for questions? So of course, at Kornhauser Library, we all use EndNote just as part of our work. We help people with it regularly, so definitely feel free to reach out by email or the Ask a Librarian form, or just come in, ask someone at the front desk. I will caution that we have meetings and sometimes people are out, so there is a chance that coming in person might not be somebody there right away to help. However, the front desk will call, and if somebody is there, we will just come down and check it out. Another is EndNote's website. So if you just go to EndNote's website, they have very good documentation for their software. A lot of questions, especially just about getting started and what different functions EndNote has. You can find that there. And another reference is just YouTube. If you type EndNote tutorial into YouTube search bar, there will be a lot of results that come up, and many of them are pretty useful, especially, of course, if it's 10:30 p.m. on a Saturday night and you need this proposal done Monday morning. The librarians aren't available, unfortunately, at that time, but there are these online resources that you can consult, and they do have a lot of information. All right. And as I say, if anyone wants to unmute themselves or type a question in the chat, we have some time for that. Oh, I think Michelle is trying to talk, and I can't hear you, unfortunately. Still can't hear you. Okay. Let me double check my computer to make sure the volume is on. All right, yes, my volume is on. Let me check my Zoom output. No, we're okay. No, it's not on my end. My settings are right. If you could type it in the chat, would that be possible? Okay. So I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, where can you go to get started? Oh, yes, of course. So that is probably the easiest place to do this is from the library. So if you are on Kornhauser's homepage under services, you have EndNote training, and this will take you to the library's guide. This tab here to download EndNote desktop. Go to U of L's web store. It'll have you log in with your UL link, ID, and password. There will be two options available, EndNote X9 and EndNote X20. Put that link in the chat. EndNote X20 is the current version, so make sure that is the one you download. It will have you add it to a cart, but the cost is $0. It is provided free of charge to all U of L affiliates. And then there is this YouTube video here that goes into the web store and shows how that works. And then once you have it downloaded, yes, the process is the same for Extrum. Once you have it downloaded, you will have to, you save a shortcut onto your desktop or your start bar down here, if you're a Mac user, you can enter it using that. Otherwise, you'll have to go to your applications folder, and I still have this EndNote X9. And EndNote 20, this one here that you'll see, there's a lot of folders in here. But if you do have to go to applications, it's just the one with the little EndNote icon on the left. And then you'll be able to, as mentioned, go to File and get a library started. Okay, great. All right, perfect. Okay. Have any other questions at the moment? So if nobody has any questions, I will say have a fantastic day, and definitely reach out to me or any of the other folks at the library if you have any other questions that come up. If EndNote tries to start glitching on you, I will stay in this meeting for another 5 to 10 minutes just for any other last minute questions.